So if you want to know why not just political violence, but also why protests happen in society, it's when the government isn't doing enough to improve people's lives. And it doesn't matter what the protest is, whether it's a left-wing protest, conservative protest, women's protest, um, rigged elections protest. They're not actually, it's not always the topic that they're actually protesting. They're protesting because they're frustrated. I cover this in my frustration bar video. And this is why all protests happen. So it's just like, see if I can explain it today properly. And why it, like how to create balance in society to solve problems. So perfect balance theory, my perfect balance theory, inspired by Aristotle's golden mean, is problems are only created when there's imbalance. If you find a perfect balance between 2 points, you will prevent problems from being created and being developed. Problems only get created when there's imbalance. So when the government doesn't do enough to improve people's lives, they're committing to imbalance, and that shows that there's imbalance in society, and people feel this frustration down to the frustration bar. It's a hidden frustration bar in society that everybody feels. They feel it when, tuition fees are too high. They're not going to have enough support for mental health. They're not going to get enough wages. It can be misinformation and disinformation online. But like, people ultimately protest with the violence, and because of, also because of oppression. And so just like, don't let people gaslight you and blaming like either like conservatives or leftists or whatever. All political violence happens because someone's frustrated or they're radicalized, and ultimately because they're frustrated down to some sort of oppression. So it's just like, the government basically has to find a balance between free will and control. Free will is represented by human rights. Control is represented by laws and regulations and police force and stuff like that. When the government commits too much to free will, then people can do whatever they want, and there'll be the logical extreme of leftism, there'll be of liberalism, which is anarchy. And then if you have too much control and too much restriction of freedoms, that's also like imbalance as well. So by finding the balance between free will and control, governments around the world will prevent problems from being created in society, like protesting and even political violence and vigilante violence. There's a lot of violence happening recently that's vigilante violence, because, the government isn't just dishing out justice well enough, and because there's imbalance in society. And because there's like stagnation in society that's been around for a while, mental health amongst parents and families isn't improving. People feel as if governments aren't doing enough to improve people's lives. So there's not a lot of imbalance, and governments should really know this 2,000-plus-year-old philosophy of golden mean already. And it seems as if they're not applying it to governance. And they need to find a balance between control and free will to prevent this chaos from happening in society. I hope this video helps. Like, subscribe, follow, share, hype the video, hype. It's down in the comment section. So thank you for watching the video. I appreciate it. And this is another element of debunking disinformation, and don't let them gaslight you. Thank you very much.